Namaste. Namaste. Namaste, Liz. So here we are again. This choice to come together, this choice to support each other in sitting, this choice in supporting each other in attempting to embrace our realities, right? One of the more challenging things any of us can do, or even ask of ourselves to do, is to embrace our realities. Right? So we do it together, which makes it a little easier. We'll give everybody a few more moments. Yes, Judith is telling us all to stay cool. Hi, Leanna. Hi, sweet love. Hi, Patrick. I was saying yesterday, this is the fun part, watching the names pop up, you know? Hi, guys. Hi. So where we are, it's quite warm today on the East Coast. Hi, Meredith. On the East Coast here in Western New York, upstate. Quite hot and muggy, so Judith posted, stay cool, y'all. All right, happy to see you. Take a moment, find your seat, right? Find your seat. And this gets so interesting, right? Because you're probably at home and maybe at your desk chair at your computer, your couch or what have you. And it's like, well, it's your seat. You're aware of that seat, right? But yet you get to find it in a new way today, right? That's one of the most interesting things about this journey, is because it's so mind expansive, it's so exploratory, right? We're constantly finding things anew, right? So just find your seat, right? Today. Let us tune in together. Breathe in. Let's take a moment of gratitude for finding this seat together, Amongst each other, we sit alone, right? We sit alone together. Namaste. Namaste. Happy to see everybody. So this morning on my walk-in, I witnessed a mom and a little boy out strolling, and when it was time for them to cross the street, the little boy paused, looked up at his mom, as if to say, is it okay? Do I have your permission to cross the street, if you will? This is probably, some parenting, some training, some skills that were involved in this kind of communicative experience where he knew to stop and kind of seek out permission before crossing the street. And, hopefully as he gets a little older, he will learn to discern and be able to make those choices on his own. For now, he's looking for the guidance. He's looking for the guidance from his mom in order to seek out that safety to cross the street, the clearance to pass, if you will. And that image is really kind of stuck with me in my whole walk and through my sadhana, my practice today, and my meditation, etc. And I think it stuck with me because, it's kind of this beautiful framed image of permission, and it's got my mind really churning around that word, and how when we're young, when we're really, really young, 2, 3, 4 years, when we're really starting to develop one's mind, etc., and one's habits and patterns, that this is one of the first things that we all learn. We learn to ask for permission, right? You think about the cookie jar on the counter, right? You kind of have to ask if you can have a cookie, or in this case, the boy's permission, asking if he can, cross the street. Or, then you get to grade school and you have the permission slips, right? And you allowance to go on the field trip to the farm or what have you. So permission is part of our lives when we're youth, right? And then, of course, around teenage rebellious years, that all just goes to shit, right? And we don't want anything to do with permission anymore. Excuse me. And I think we lose sight of permission as adults, right? Other than, with something that is like, governmental and official, right? Like the permission to enter Cuba, a couple years ago before things opened up, right? You had to write and ask for permission from government, right? This kind of thing. But basically, in the adult years, we live sans permission, if you will. And it's one of the words that I use often on the mat when I'm teaching people, when I'm assisting people into greater states of awareness here at Shakti, to permit, to give permission. This is a game changer, and in some ways it might sound like a whole other ball of wax from the young child asking for permission and how we are brought up, raised with the habit of permission. It doesn't sound like it could be the same thing, that the permission that we ask of the self. And I think we can all be a little schooled and be a little bit reminded and be a little encouraged to bring that back into our existence, essentially to permit whatever it is that we're feeling, to permit whatever it is that we're thinking, to give ourselves permission to be in whatever state that we might be in. This is, of course, uncomfortable. This is, of course, challenging. This is, of course, difficult, especially during these charged times when anxieties are higher, when opinions are greater, stronger, right? Energy is charged right now. The permission that we might give ourselves to sit with an ugly thought or an uncomfortable sensation. Why might we want to even bother, right? Exercising the skill of permission to and for and with oneself, because it's the gateway. and the gateway to acceptance and the gateway into peace. And I think we bypass it all the time. I think we kind of ignore it and we just want to kind of move on to the next phase without really permitting ourselves to be in the states that we're in right now. But when we start to do this, when we start to allow, when we start to give ourselves the cosmic permission slip to be angry, uncomfortable, scared, confused, lonely, afraid, all of this stuff that probably each and every one of us are experiencing, if not all at the same time. Certainly we've all had those moments, right? So first of all, there's something to be said, and how wonderful that we're all experiencing those moments together as a collective, because we're supporting each other, right? Humans supporting humans, being human, right? We're here to get real, right? These riffs are raw, these riffs are unscripted, these riffs are channeled in such a way that they are touching upon the hot topic of the moment. But the yoga and the practice of consciousness, the practice of awareness, the practice of being with oneself has been the same since day one, right? So how wonderful that as we all experience our stuff, right, that we're supporting each other in the attempt of permitting, the attempt of giving ourselves that cosmic permission slip to just be with whatever it is, especially if we don't like it, right? That's the hard part. But it's the truth, right? We're trying to get to the raw truth of the self, or, that's what I might be attempting to assist you in right now. I don't know if you're trying to get to your truth or not. That's completely up to you and for you to figure out. But I can tell you that truth, living in states of truth, living in states of great acceptance, by way of permitting, by way of permission to oneself to have thoughts and sensations that are uncomfortable to have, it really is the gateway to freedom. Jivan Mukti, the Sanskrit word for liberated spirit, right? To be able to sit with what is there, right? All that is uncomfortable, all that might be dark, all that might be difficult to embrace, and to really hold oneself in that loving space, right? And we're here to help each other do that. So I just kind of encourage, for maybe even just the course of today, right, that you kind of slide that word permission into your vocabulary, into your own personal inner dialogue, because it can really be a game changer, right, to permit whatever is occurring to be there. States of pain, right? Things that you might normally judge yourself for having, right? And just see if it serves you, right? Because as we permit, as we accept, as we allow, right, that helps us be carried in, ushered in, like on a little, we place ourselves on the boat, if you will, of permission, of allowance, of acceptance. And that carries us on this beautiful stream path toward moments of peace, right? Everybody wants states of peace. And we're often thinking that it's out there, right? It's in here, but we got to get through our stuff first, right? And the way to get through the stuff is to get into the stuff. And the way to get into the stuff is to permit that it's even there in the first place. We all have work to do, right? If these last couple months have not shown us that, right, I'm not sure what it has shown us, right? There's an enormous state of imbalance occurring right now, right? So we take responsibility, in our own way, right? We don't overload and take too much responsibility, right? We don't take responsibility for everything that has occurred, right? There's only so much we can do. But we take responsibility by creating a greater state of internal balance for ourselves, a greater state of well-being for ourselves, a greater state of liberation for oneself, so that we can walk this path a little clearer, a little lighter. We can make choices that are more efficiently serving the well-being of all beings, right? It starts with the self, and today just perhaps consider letting the theme word be permit and permission. Like, teach yourself how to give yourself permission. Because we all had it when we were little. And we just lost it, right? We just lost it, and we can get it back, right? Move the body around a little bit. As you bobble your head, just move the marbles of your mind around, right? Shaking a little something loose, right? You don't have to get rid of everything, just kind of move it around. Movement is a great way to check in to your reality, right? Because the body is real. The body's happening in the now, right? It's having a relationship with temperature. It's having a relationship with temperament, right? The whole thing. And then 3 juicy, big cleansing breaths in through the nose. One more. And then begin to reestablish the seat that you chose to take with us in the beginning of our session. Refind it, right? Because you're different now. You're different now than when you were when you sat down 10 minutes ago. Refind your seat, reestablish the relationship to your reality. And then we'll start to get clued in to what's there. And when you feel ready, close your eyes. And let's remind each other that the closing of one's eyes is certainly not to shut the world out around us, but to just become more in tune to the inner world within us. And one way we might stay connected to each other through this process is to soften the outer sheath of the self, the skin. Let's begin to root down through the hips and tail. Growing a firm awareness and a deep connection to what sits underneath you. What's the texture, what's the temperature of the seat underneath you? When you're ready, slowly elevate the waist, making more space in the midsection of the body to breathe with more ease and clarity. And gently begin to broaden across the chest cavity. Consider releasing the shoulders away from the ears. And soften through the face. If you're familiar, consider shifting the gaze to the space just above the bridge of the nose, locating your third eye. If that feels too uncomfortable today, no worries. Just shift your focus into your heart or your belly. As we shift this focus inward, let us all please take a moment to notice that we have breath. Now, if it's shallow, maybe today's not the day we judge it. Maybe today's not the day that we try to change it. Maybe today's the day that we permit it. And because that's a challenging concept, let us remind ourselves that we are surrounded and supported by like-minded beings here together, and that we all knew how to execute permission when we were wee ones, right? When we were little ones. So we have that in us. May I permit myself to be just as I am right now. And see if you can soften a little bit more through the skin or the innards. Always feel free to move if you feel a little stuck or stiff. And draw the gaze down into the body, tunneling it to the lower belly, softening the area under the navel. And become aware of how the inhales puff the belly outward, and how the exhales draw the belly inward. And it's so simple, it's so easy to just miss it, right? See if we might stay focused. Just try. Do the best you can. That's all we can ever do, is the best we can. See if we might continue to submerge our inner awareness into the pool under the navel. Sitting in observance of the puff of the inhale and the emptying of the exhale. And may we ask of this breath that it will assist us in the practice, in the skill-building practice of giving oneself permission to just be in whatever state we are in right now. Can we give that to ourselves right now? And if you can't right now, maybe you do it later on. What a gift to become aware of all those sensations and thoughts, even if, especially if those thoughts are uncomfortable and difficult to have, right? To bear witness to one's authentic inner truth right now. And if you feel like the breath can go a little further, just allow it to slip and slide up and down the spine. Encouraging it to slowly enter the top of the chest upon the inhale, and to gradually exit under the navel, bottom of the exhale. And if it doesn't make it that far, just permit. You know, we've all had a very heavy hand with ourselves, I'm sure, for many, many years, right? The beating up of oneself, the hypercriticism of oneself, right? Has it served? Right? Has it served? Has it made you a more liberated human being? Has it brought you more peace and ease? Give permission a try. And maybe you can execute your breath in such a way that it speaks an allowance, a permission to you right now. Maybe it whispers. And if you care to participate with our daily lung strengthening exercise, please empty the breath from the underbelly. Breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. 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 Release the lock of the underbelly, letting your breath go, letting your breath flow. Feel free to move the body. And we will hold space for each other for just a few more precious moments to sit in observance of this breath as it moves through this body in this state of reality. And might we all just apply, might we all assist each other, support each other in applying permission for whatever is there to be there. Bring the hands together at the center of the heart. Perhaps take a moment of gratitude for the opportunity to find your seat today amongst this supportive group of beings. Beings that you know, beings that you don't know, beings that you truly know underneath the surface, as we are all one. Breathe in. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for showing up for yourself, but showing up for us. I'm just, the one holding the space, but this is really about us and for us, And this is what I do here day in and day out at Shakti when we have class, and the practice is exactly the same today as it was 6 years ago, It's just our reality has changed, right? It's gotten more intense. So thank goodness that we have this forum of connecting more of us together, right? Beyond the brick and mortar of this beautiful building, right? I don't have a large Facebook following really, because it's not really been part of my thing, It's been always show up here and do the work here with human beings, and that's how it served me, and that's how I've been serving. So the reason why I mention that is if this serves you in some way, or you feel moved to share this, please do so that we can continue to grow this community of humans being human, of people willingness to just sit and get real, right? And get in the real raw, right? We're here to support each other, right? And I hope that this serves as a springboard into the rest of your day of being more awake and aware and connected to yourself, living in greater states of truth and more acceptance and liberated beings that we all are, right? We all have the birthright of being liberated, right? We're just stuck in the prison of our mind, right? As soon as something shows up, we're like, oh no, I don't want to feel that or think that, so I'll just put it down there and I'll judge it a little bit and then, I'll put it down some more. It just makes us stuck, right? All right, my loves, please share it. Please send it out, and I will see you tomorrow. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with an easy heart. Namaste.